Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. You straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters.
Ah.
All right, good morning out there. It is 6 a.m. and it is a beautiful Friday. We are finishing up our first week of our first Monday through Friday daily sports show. We are the Scout Team, and you are listening to Scout Team Sports. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me...
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Loudbeard. That's right, Loudbeard. And with me on the other end is one of the greatest patriots I have ever met in my life, and that would be...
Welcome to Scout Team Sports. This is Chris America coming to you live every morning, Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. and every morning, Monday through Thursday at 11, and then on Fridays at 10. How you doing, Loudbeard?
No, we're at 11 on Fridays also. I think you got that backwards.
What's that?
I'm doing great, though, man. I'm doing absolutely great. We're at 11 o'clock Monday through Friday.
Every day we're...
Yes.
What was the whole deal about specialties on Fridays then?
Okay, so this is the difference. So if everybody's been listening to 12-Ounce Sports Radio, like you should be, all of our listeners out there, you have probably found that you're also hearing us at 10 a.m. every day. Well, the 10 a.m. time slot is being reserved for new talent that we're looking at bringing in on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. So right now we're just using our replay from 10 to 11 every day as we bring in new talent. So Monday through Thursday, we're 10 to 11. On Fridays, our good friends over at Cows and Quacks, they have that 10 a.m. time slot. We're going to end up filling those 10 a.m. time slots, so we're not going to be replayed every day. But our 6 a.m. time slot, where we're live every morning, and our 11 a.m. time slot, Monday through Friday, that is all ours. So it's just Monday through Thursday, we're 10 a.m., which is kind of confusing. It's a long story. We're just going to let it roll. But we're Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. But, man, you sound a little coarse. Were you up last night late cheering on a team, maybe?
Yeah, I was up late last night watching college football, cheering on UCF. Once I got home, I started watching the Northwestern Purdue game. Apparently, I missed all of the excitement because most of the scoring was done in the first half. And then Purdue scored 10 points in the second half, and that was it. But still, close game. Just like I said, it would have been probably the most competitive game last night.
Yeah, I mean, for it being the first night of college football, we got it kind of what we expected in a lot of these games. But there were a few close games, Purdue being one of them. We also talked about there being a possible upset. I believe you had mentioned that Memphis Spence had talked about an upset with Tulane, right? Taking out Wake Forest. That was close. That almost happened. So we had some great action, right?
Yeah, a lot of great action. UCF was not competitive, but it was still very fun to see UCF's offense. Man with the golden mic, complete an utter hater of UCF, and I still don't understand why. Said they would only score 28. They doubled that. They scored 56. They covered the spread, so you're good there, Mr. at Sean Dilly Daly. He was asking us about the point spread. So, great night overall for college football. I'm ready for round 2 tonight.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a long weekend. And you did. You talked about Sean Daly, good fan of good friend of the show, big fan of the show. But he did say he was throwing us out there ahead of the game. He tweeted exactly, if UCF doesn't cover the 24.5 spread tonight, I will personally be looking for a refund from Loudbeard and Chris Scout Team for gassing me up so much on them. And this was on Twitter, so this is a bona fide actual threat against our lives for him to come repossess the money that we were telling him to bet on this game. The good news is, like you said, Mr. Sean Daly is much richer today because of our advice. And one of the reasons for that is because, Chris America, you went out and said this about a month and a half ago, and you were talking to Mac's scout team, and you said to Mac, I bet you that UCF will have a top 5 offense. And now that we have seen one game in the books, I know it's a very small sample size, are you feeling pretty good about this top 5 offense? Do you still think that this UCF team is going to be a top 5 offense?
Listen, to Sean Daly, to all the listeners out there, we're not just UCF homers. At least I'm not. I'm a person that I don't throw things out there unless I know for sure it's going to happen. My record with my bets on the show is 7-2 right now. The one of the losses I did bet with my heart, it was Arkansas versus Florida baseball. I kind of knew Florida had run out of gas in the middle of the World Series, but Rehab Sports sent me out the bet, and sometimes I become a degenerate gambler when it comes to my Gators. But other than that, we don't say things just for lip service. Well, maybe Mac does because he said that UCF was only going to score 28 points against UConn. But probably about Memphis, when I watched UCF play Memphis and I saw how talented and fast that team was, I knew for sure that UCF was a really, really good team. The rest of the country didn't because they don't watch UCF.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so over the summer, I've seen one lazy take after another lazy take of they got a new coach. Scott Frost is gone. That offense was just all Scott Frost. And again, it just let me know you still haven't watched UCF. You still don't know how good Adrian Killens is. You still don't get how good of a quarterback Mackenzie Milton is. And you've clearly done no homework on Josh Heupel and what kind of offensive mind he is. And I guess you forgot that Randy Shannon was a really good defensive coordinator, a really good defensive recruiter, all the way from Miami to Florida, wherever he was, their defenses were always pretty solid. So I knew even if Josh Heupel couldn't coach, I knew he had a good team where he could just be the offensive coordinator and Randy Shannon could be the defensive coordinator, and UCF was going to be fine. And we saw that last night.
Yeah, we absolutely saw that last night. And to all of our listeners, if you did not have a chance, if you are not in the local area, we did have our pregame show last night. It ran from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on 12ouncesportsradio.com. And this was a great event. We went out. We got to meet a lot of our listeners, meet future listeners, be out there. There was a UCF alumni group that does a watch party for these UCF games. We were able to talk to a lot of them. Yeah, our good friend Anthony Mack, he did go out there and he was trying to be the villain, the heel, if you would. He was acting like the atypical wrestler heel, where he was trying to say, go Florida State to everybody that was wearing a national championship shirt. He was trying to say, oh, you're not the national champions. Nobody was having it. He was just talking out loud, and we let it pass. But we got to go out there. We got to meet everybody and watch the game with them and have a really great time. If you have an opportunity, just check out all of our social media. We have some picks-ups from last night's event. It was just by far one of the best events we have done so far. We have done live shows in the past when we were doing just the Wednesday night show, but now this was like our first real big welcome to the morning show event, and it blew my mind how great everybody was. But check out the pics on social media. You can find us at Scout Team Radio on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you are listening right now, you are listening to 12ouncesportsradio.com or 12ounce Sports Radio on the TuneIn app. Keep doing that. Listen to us every morning, because we're not going to just talk about UCF every week, but with going to a pregame live event that we put on, we had to talk about UCF. We got to keep talking about UCF, and we will probably a little bit more, but there is a lot more college football to go over. I will say, as I am an alumni of UCF, so I probably am biased, but just great to see them out there, offense running on all cylinders. You could tell that there is multiple weapons. It's not just one player. Mackenzie Milton is leading that charge. He is definitely the one guy that they need to just continue to develop, to continue to grow, and continue to move forward with what he is doing. But there are also so many other weapons on this team. It wasn't one guy. It was a stable of running backs. It was just very talented wide receiving core. So their offense was just moving at a great pace. And they have an awesome offensive line. I'm telling you right now, an underrated offensive line. And we talked about this a little bit last night, Chris America, when we were at the event. But that defense, yeah, they let in a few points. But this is a very typical Randy Shannon defense. And you said it's a bend but not break defense. Tell our listeners a little bit more about, because you're such a Gators fan, you've seen this type of defense. Randy Shannon knows how to get a defense right, and so far so good, right?
Yeah, and I was also once I got home last night, I started texting my friend Wayne. He is from Miami. Excuse me, hold on one second. He's from Miami, and he was a big Miami fan growing up. Then he moved up to Orlando, went to UCF, became a UCF fan, UCF alumni. So now that's his first love, which always happens. You know, you can grow up one fan of a college, but then once you go to school, you generally have to, switch your allegiances. So I was asking him, and I'm like, I know when he was at Florida, he never really did a lot of blitzes. He never really tried to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. He's sort of a conservative defensive caller where he doesn't want to be beat deep. He doesn't want to have the big play bite him in the butt, and he relies a lot on the defensive speed to kind of get to the quarterback, get to the running backs, and shut down the receivers and create turnovers. And he agreed with me on that one. He said, yeah, that's pretty typical of Randy Shannon's defense. The only thing that I would say that they need to do is they need to work on their tackling, man. Their tackling was pretty atrocious. I know that the quarterback at UConn is a very athletic kid. I don't want to take anything away from him. And if you get a chance, if you have any reason to watch UConn this season, definitely watch for a few drives for that quarterback, because he's very electric, very athletic. He made a lot of good plays, made a lot of people miss that no matter how good you are tackling, you would have missed. So, but overall, I think the defense did good, and it was like I said, it was a bend but don't break. I'm sure they had like 300, 400 total yards. They ended up scoring 17 points, but really they only scored 10 because once UCF went up 49-10 or 56-10, I don't remember when they took out Mackenzie Milton, but once they took out Mackenzie Milton, they probably took out the rest of the team, and they started putting in second stringers, third stringers, and of course scout team, which you can hear every day at 6 o'clock.
That's a nice plug. I like that. I like that a lot. Overall, great game. Now, you said when you got home, you caught the rest of this Northwestern Purdue game. That's the game you were checking out, right?
I caught up to 11 o'clock at night, which that's probably when the fourth quarter started. And I was like, I got to get up early and do a 6 o'clock show. And I'm glad I didn't stay up because I think I missed one field goal. I think that's all I missed from the time I was watching to the time I went to bed. So glad I didn't stay up for that. Like I said, I missed all of the action. I watched the highlights. Both of the offense looked pretty good at the beginning of the first half, and then I guess the defense has made adjustments in the second half. So, yeah, like I mentioned it on the show, these two teams are battling for mediocrity in the Big Ten. One of them is probably going to go 4-4. The other one might go 5-3, maybe. I don't know. Or they both might go 4-4. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not a marquee matchup. We're not talking about Alabama versus Georgia here. But, when we're getting into college football, some of these divisional matchups, they mean something. We have to take a look at some of these, especially on some of the Power 5 conferences. And just kind of looking at some of the highlights from the game. Now, Northwestern comes out with the big W. They win 31-27. And kind of to your point, it sounds like it became a possession game towards the end of this where they were just trying to hang on. And it shows that Northwestern actually ran the last 7 minutes and 57 seconds off. So basically the last 8 minutes of the game was Northwestern just grinding out the clock. Now, as a fan, that is really hard to watch because you want it to be fun. I'm sure the Purdue fans were hoping for the ball back to get a last opportunity, but Northwestern just grinds the clock down, and they hold on to that win. So 31-27, great start for Northwestern. I don't think either of us believe that they're going to be in the national spotlight anytime here soon. So we're just kind of reviewing some of these big games from last night because, hey, why not? It's college football season. It is back. We've been waiting all year for this.
Yeah, man. And the reason why I pointed out that game yesterday is because, again, it was two teams that are equally matched. There weren't many of those last night. And because they know they're mediocre teams, both of these teams needed this win to start off the season. You want to get the wins that you should win. And like Purdue's coming off the plane today or going back to school today thinking, man, we should have had that one. That's one that we needed to get because the rest of the ones against Big Ten teams other than Rutgers and Maryland, they're going to be hard to get. So it sucks. And if you're Northwestern, you build off of that. You say, okay, we got one win on our belt. We're 1-0 in conference play. Let's try to roll this momentum in. Let's learn from our mistakes that we did in the first half. Glad to see we made the adjustments in the second half, and let's roll with it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Those are the ones you have to win. College football is there's so many intricacies that if you miss those games that you should win, if you lose those games, you're done. You're done for the year, especially when like you said, they're conference play. So it was a big game, and it puts Northwestern in a good place, and it puts Purdue in a bad place. Another game I had kind of mentioned was the Wake Forest-Tulane game. Again, our friend Memphis Spence, he had kind of predicted a little bit of an upset, and he wasn't very far from that. So this game ends up being a tie, 17-17, and has to go into overtime. So when you get an overtime game, first day of college football, that is always a good sign because that's when college football gets to be real fun. I love the overtime rules in college football. I think it's designed just for fans, not really for the teams. It's like, here, let's give you the ball with a chance to score every time. We don't need you to drive all the way down the field. We just want you to keep scoring. Let's go back and forth. But in the end, it looks like Wake Forest finishes it off. They have a short run for a touchdown from Cade Carney, and they come out with victory, 23-17, like they should have. That was definitely a game they should have won. So it's good they came out with a victory, but it ended up being a little bit closer than they probably would have liked.
Well, looking at the box score, it shows that Tulane had a 14-10 lead going into the fourth quarter. So Wake Forest had to earn that one, and Memphis Spence was wrong that there would be an upset, but he was right. I think this point spread was 6 points. So there was a push there, and he said that Wake Forest won't be able to cover the spread. So he was right on that. It was definitely the close game that he said it was going to be.
All right, and we're talking about Memphis Spence. If our listeners do not know who Memphis Spence is, he is one of our good friends over at Sports Radio America, which Sports Radio America is an affiliate of 12ouncesportsradio.com, and they are a great station. Clutch Talk Sports is a show that we run here on 12 Ounce Sports Radio, which is also from Sports Radio America. Memphis Spence's show is College Credit Hour. It comes on daily. He's a good friend of ours. We like to interact with him pretty regularly on social media, and we check out his show from time to time. So he is a good guy, and we want to make sure that we give him the credit where credit is due. Now, a couple other big games last night. Well, I guess really big names, not big games per se. But Oklahoma State was out there. They play Missouri State. This is a 58-17. This is kind of like your UCF-UConn score where you didn't think the other team had a chance. You knew it would be a big score. Oklahoma State goes out and does what we thought they would up against Missouri State. No surprises there, but another big score. So, hey, you know what? That's how college football is. Sometimes you get these blowouts, and it's part of the game, and the team on the winning side, good for them, man. Good for them.
Yeah, Texas A&M, they tuned up, what was it, Northwestern State. They tuned them up pretty good, and that's a good warm-up game for Texas A&M because next week they are at Clemson. I'm excited about that matchup. I'm sure Texas A&M fans are too. And Texas A&M getting kind of the advantage that they get to get their work in on Thursday night, and then they get 2 extra days of practice, 2 extra days of rest, that kind of thing, where Clemson, I think, plays on Saturday. So, yeah, they play Furman on Saturday, so I guess they both get the same amount of rest.
So if we think Northwestern is in for mediocrity, what would you call Northwestern State? I mean, they're like the speed bump.
Yeah, they are definitely the mediocrest of mediocre. Yeah, I don't know how they are in Division II. I mean, they could be like the Division III national champs, and we don't know. But Yeah.
All right, well, let's see what we got going on. So Friday night we got some more games. So tonight, right? Tonight we've got some good games coming up. I would say the only ones here that we really would maybe even look at, I don't know, there's actually some good matchups coming up here Friday night. There's so much college football, it's hard to even, talk about everything, but Michigan State's playing tonight.
Yep.
That should be a good blowout, I would think. They're playing Utah State, so it's not going to be a good game to watch, but it's going to be fun to see Michigan State back out on the field. You looking forward to that one, or it's just going to be another one we kind of loosely check out?
No, that's one you maybe just watch the highlights at the end to see like the two highlights on SportsCenter where they show like, oh, here's the one touchdown from this 80-yard run, and then here's a go ahead fade route to this other guy, and Michigan State wins 59-10.
Yeah, nope, I'm with you on that. Another game like that is going to be Wisconsin versus Western Kentucky.
Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, baby. Go Hilltoppers.
That's right. We don't expect much out of this game either. Probably a big score. Wisconsin's usually got a tough defense, so I don't know.
It's great running game. That's how they win games up there in Wisconsin. The game that I'm looking forward to tonight is Stanford versus San Diego State. That was one nobody tuned into last year, and you woke up the next morning or you were checking the box scores at the end of the night, and you're like, wow, Stanford just lost to San Diego State. So this is kind of the rematch game. Bryce Love, is a Heisman hopeful, so I'll be excited to watch him. No Rashad Penny this year for San Diego State, so I don't know if San Diego State's going to be able to bring that same punch.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about with San Diego State. They're not going to be the same team they were last year, but they might have just enough left in the tank to make this game tight towards the end. Stanford will come out with the win, in my opinion. That's not a bold prediction by any means, but I want San Diego State to keep this one competitive, to make it a fun game to watch, and that way we can kind of, just have a really great evening of watching a competitive matchup. A couple other notables I'll just do real quick. Army versus Duke may not be too bad. Usually Army's got a decent team. Duke, they actually have been pretty good in football the last few years, so that might be okay. And then Colorado versus Colorado State. Anytime there's an in-state game, the teams always seem like they show up. Now, I don't think Colorado State's any good, so Colorado should steamroll them. But that leads us into Saturday, my friend. So Saturday's got a full slate of games. An unbelievable amount of games. So we're not going to go over everyone, obviously.
We went over all the games for tomorrow except for the 7:30 games. All the games after 7:30, and that's when all the big-time matchups are coming up. We got Michigan at Notre Dame. This was a rivalry for the longest time, and then around 2012, 2013, Michigan fans know better than I do, and so do Notre Dame fans, but around that time, Notre Dame signed an agreement with the ACC because the Big East kicked out all of the football teams, and they became a basketball-only conference. And Notre Dame was a basketball Big East team, so they kind of needed somewhere to go. And the ACC was smart because Notre Dame is independent. They've always been independent. They enjoy having their NBC contract where they get all of the money for that. And so they still refuse to become independent, but they need their other teams to fall into a conference to make it easier for them to schedule, because it would be a nightmare to be an AD having to make up independent schedule for baseball, basketball, et cetera, et cetera. But an independent football schedule, you only got to schedule 12 games. That's a little bit more manageable. So the ACC said, look, you can join our conference, but you have to play 5 ACC games every year. And so I think that was really good by the ACC to kind of use leverage on Notre Dame to get them to come to their schools and play them every year. And it worked out. So Notre Dame had to cancel some of their rivalries, and one of the ones that was sacrificed was the Michigan rivalry. And I'm glad to see it's back after a 5 or 6 year hiatus. And I'm excited for this game. I know you guys, or maybe more Mac, wasn't that excited, but both of these coaches, Jim Harbaugh and Brian Kelly, not everybody is on board for these two guys inside those fan bases.
Oh, yeah, they're both on the hot seat, big time. This is a big game for both coaches. This is to kind of set the tone for the season. We're going to set the tone and see who is going to step up. I think it's going to be Michigan. I feel more confident in Harbaugh as a coach. They've got their stud quarterback now, and I think this is their year to kind of develop. And, Notre Dame seems like every year that they're in the mix, but I don't know. I don't know that this is going to be Notre Dame's year. So I'm going Michigan in this one.
Yeah, I'm going Michigan too, and I know you got burned by Michigan last year, and I think that's why you're not wanting to pick them to do well this year. You're very hesitant. You're very gun-shy with Michigan, but maybe part of it's because it's my team-in-law. I'm going to pull the trigger on Michigan, man. I think they win 10 to 11 games this year. I think they win their division. I'm not going to say they're going to win the Big Ten, but I think they are ready, and Harbaugh finally has the quarterback that he can actually win with. So I look for them to beat Notre Dame as well.
All right, next game up on the slate. Which one you want to talk about next, sir?
Louisville versus Alabama. Or I guess we'll stick with the 7:30 games. Miami versus LSU.
All right. Well, that's on a Sunday, 7:30, but...
Oh, my bad. I just
That's
saw
okay.
7:30. No,
that's okay.
We'll go Louisville.
We'll do Miami LSU, and then we'll go back to Alabama Louisville. So Miami LSU. Wow, this is another great matchup. Week 1. You're seeing two ranked teams, two big conferences, ACC versus SEC. Big name coaches. The great Ed Orgeron going up against Mark Richt, and this is year 2 of the Mark Richt experience over in Miami, and he did a tremendous job year 1. So I think he's going to just build off of that success for year 2. I don't know what to expect out of LSU. They were so hot and cold last year. They had that big loss to Troy in the middle of the year, and everybody kind of left them for dead, and then they finished the year really strong. So, I mean, Miami's the higher-ranked team, which means they should win, but this one to me is a coin flip. I can't wrap around who I want to go for on this one. Who do you feel? What is your thoughts?
I'm going to go down. I think talent-wise, they're probably even, and maybe even LSU has a little bit of an edge. I haven't really followed much of their recruiting, but generally LSU has been out-recruiting Miami. I don't know what Mark Richt has been doing the last 3 recruiting classes to know that for sure, but I'm going to give the coaching edge to Mark Richt. I know a lot of people hate on Mark Richt. No, he can't get you over the hump, but I do believe Mark Richt is a much better coach than Ed Orgeron. So I think Mark Richt is going to come out with a game plan. Miami's going to come out hot. Yes, this is at LSU. Is this in LSU or no? This is at a neutral site game in Texas, isn't it?
I believe it is. I'm just verifying
still,
that for you.
It's still in Louisiana. It's still a Louisiana. So
it's basically a home game for them, even though it's not at their home field. And
so at least they're not in Death Valley. That's a hard place to win at night. So with taking that out of the picture, I think Miami wins. I think they run the ball on them pretty well. It's going to be a low-scoring game, something like a 20 to 17 or a 27 to 21 type game.
No, I agree with you that on all fronts. All right, next game, we're going to review the next 2 big games, and then we're going to have some fun excitement in store for us after the commercial break. So everybody, why don't you hang on tight. When we come back, we will be talking Alabama, Louisville, and we will be talking about the Florida something and anothers against Virginia Tech. And then after that, it is Fantasy Draft Friday, and Chris America, you and I are going to be drafting our favorite Samuel L. Jackson movie team, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned. I know it's a Friday. We're going to have fun with this. We're getting into all the college football, which we both love, and we're also going to have a little bit of fantasy football draft fun. So anyway, stay tuned. Quick commercial break. We'll be back just in a couple minutes.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. "12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst."
Oh, guess who it is? Did you know the station had a janitor? Oh yeah, the Hefe, otherwise known as Beck. And it's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12 Ounce Sports Radio every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch interviews, special guests, and the recap of the week's news and headlines and box scores and results. It's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12 Ounce Sports Radio.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12 Ounce Sports Radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb. Do you own a small business? Are you looking for solutions to all of your communications, problems, and challenges that you have? Check out Ring Central. Give them a call. They have partnered with 12ouncesportsradio.com to give you the best rates on all of your business and office solutions for communication. Give them a call today. We have a dedicated line for all of the 12-ounce sports radio listeners. It is 1-877-779-3860. You will get a representative on the phone who will help you with all of your small business communications needs. Once again, give them a call today. 1-877-779-3860.
Did you know 40 points on your credit score could cost you $40,000 on a mortgage? Thankfully, Lexington Law is here to help. Since 1991, Lexington Law has helped over 500,000 customers take action on their credit reports. Call 877-910-7472 to talk to a repair specialist now. Personalized credit consultation is free. Getting access to your report is free, plus free score evaluation with a recommended solution. Call now and get on the path to recovery. Call Lexington Law at 877-910-7472. That's 877-910-7472.
Oh, it's summertime. And what's that mean? We're all heading off to the golf course. But don't go too fast. Make sure you go to 12ouncesportsradio.com and book a tee time. At the bottom of any page, you'll see Book Like a Pro. Click that banner, enter your course of choice or zip code, find a tee time you like, book that tee time, and you'll get up to 50% off, courtesy of 12 Ounce Sports Radio. Book like a pro, even if you don't.
Yeah, we are back, and I pulled the Chris America. I started talking without the microphone on. So, Chris America, you are rubbing off on me, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You ready to talk a little Alabama Louisville?
I am. By the way, if we seem a little low energy, we apologize. It's because we were out late last night. But it is Friday, Loudbeard. It is a day to be energetic. It is a day to be excited. The weekend is here, and for most of us, it is a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Labor Day weekend. I get a 3-day weekend. I'm excited. And if anybody out there listening has ever listened to Loudbeard Sports, which was my old podcast, I had a partner on that with me, and her name was Dee Dee. Last night was actually her first collegiate soccer game. She had a great game. Her team won, and I'm going to go up Saturday morning for their first home game, so I am flying out Saturday morning, and I'm looking forward to it, man. It is great to watch college sports, not just college football, but all college sports, even if it is women's soccer. It is a good time.
Yep, and if you're tuning in on, we're going to be taking Monday off, but we'll be back on Tuesday, loud and America as ever.
As we always are. Yes, sir.
All right, let's get into to tomorrow night's game, Alabama versus Louisville. It's here in the O-Town. Alabama said we need to be like UCF so much we need to play in their own city, but we don't want to play them. So they're here. I'm sure downtown's going to be packed full of Louisville fans and Alabama fans, and a lot of people have no doubts this is going to be a full-on Alabama win.
Yeah. I mean, do you think Louisville has at least a little sliver of a hope?
I do think they have a sliver of a hope. If what I've heard on the offseason is correct, Alabama, I mean, we hear this every year. Alabama has to replace some defensive players, and it really doesn't ever seem to matter because they just get five-star recruit after five-star recruit. If the Louisville missed this game by a year, if they had Lamar Jackson, I would give them a little bit more hope because Alabama does struggle with an elite mobile quarterback. But I don't know. I know Lou the Dog. He said that he doesn't have any hopes either. So when Louisville fans don't have hope, I don't know how I'm supposed to have hope. Maybe. I think they keep it closer than the experts think, though.
Yeah. I'd love to see this upset. Maybe this is my own selfish desire, but there has to be an upset week one. There always is, right? Not to rub it into your team-in-law, but the old App State, Michigan upset, that's how we start out a season. We need that upset. And not that this would be up of that epic proportion, but if we saw an Alabama upset against Louisville, man, that would be news right there. That would be something to watch. And not that this team can't do it. They have some talent on their team. Now, are they Alabama? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. But this is a team that could come out and surprise us. Yeah, I wish they had Lamar Jackson. I wish my team had Lamar Jackson. Yeah. But, you know, he's gone. And before Lamar Jackson was Teddy Bridgewater. I said, man, once they lose Teddy Bridgewater, they're going to be out of it. And there's always that next guy that steps up. So let's see what Louisville can do. I don't want to discredit them. I don't want to discount them. But I will say, maybe it's my selfish desire. This is going to be my upset special of the weekend.
I'm not going to go as far as to say that Louisville will win, but I'm looking at the odds. It's a 24.5-point favorite for Alabama. I'm going to say Alabama does not cover the spread.
Okay, that's good. No, I can live with that. That's a fair analysis of this one. All right, so one other game that is on the slate for this weekend, and without Anthony Mack here, we can really dig deep into the Florida State football program. But Florida State, Virginia Tech, this is probably the most even matchup of the weekend, and this could be another bad start for FSU. Virginia Tech, they usually start the year off hot. I think they always fade. I don't know why, but they usually come in hot. So Florida State better be careful. Now, they did name their quarterback. It is going to be Francois. He is the most talented quarterback on that roster, and when he plays, they look like a great team. Last year when he was hurt, they looked lost. Part of that was coaching with Jimbo just not having his heart in it. But now let's see what Francois can do. Willie T, what can he do? I think this is going to be a tough matchup for Florida State. I'm up against the fence. I'm not even picking a team. I just want to watch it and see how this unfolds.
Yeah, this is, I think, year 3. I'm pretty sure this is year 3 of the Fuente era in Virginia Tech. Beamer retired, I think, a couple of years ago. If not, it's definitely year 2. I think Virginia Tech gets it done. I think they've been in their system a lot longer, and I know Anthony's excited about Willie Taggart. I know a lot of people have pointed to the fact that he's turned around Western Kentucky and he turned around USF, so they think that makes him a good coach. But I still think Willie Taggart is a question mark. We haven't seen him stay long enough at a school to really say, like, yes, he is a really good coach. He might just be better than whoever he came in before him type deal. And he's got, as much as I hate on Jimbo Fisher, he's got some bigger shoes to fill this time than he has the last few times that he's gone to a school. And he wasn't at Oregon long enough to know if he was a good coach in the Power 5. And he really didn't do that well there either. He lost, I think, 5 losses last year at Oregon. So I think I'm going to give the coaching edge to Fuente because we know more about Fuente. We know about his success at Memphis. We know about what he's done so far at Virginia Tech, that he's, building that program. Going from Frank Beamer to Fuente, they're a little bit different coaching styles. So when you have a total coaching style change like that, then you got to kind of bring in players that you want, bring in players that fit your system kind of deal. So I'm going to give a slight edge to Virginia Tech going into this game. But I'm excited. That's going to finish out the weekend of college football, man. And then we only have 2 days off. We get Tuesday night without football and Wednesday night without football. And then we start all over again Thursday night. But I'm just more than thrilled that it's football season. You got anything else on the weekend?
That is it on the weekend. I will say that with Monday being a holiday, we are going to take off Monday for the show. We will be replaying today's show Monday. So if you're listening in, you can check us out on Monday, but it will be a replay. And we will come back hot on Tuesday. We're going to be coming in hot, so be prepared. I'm sure with everything going on the weekend, with all the sports, with all the college football, with everything going on, we will have an abundance of information to cover, and it's going to be fantastic. But with all that being said, Chris America, I hope you're ready. We like to do what we call the segment. I haven't really got a great name for it. I'm calling it Fantasy Draft Friday. Maybe we call it Ride or Die Friday. We're riding or dying with our teams on the fantasy side. And this week's fantasy draft team is Samuel L. Jackson movies. And not that there's not that many Samuel L. Jackson movies, because there's like a billion. But this is where we can really get creative, have fun with the fantasy draft, and at the end, we're going to post a poll on Twitter and see who has the best team. We're going to let the fans decide. So this is important, Chris America. You and I up against each other. We are going at it. Are you ready? Can you bring it? You bring your A game?
Yeah. Well, literally, we could have a 20-team draft, drafting 5 movies, and we still wouldn't even hit 20% of his movies.
This is so true. This is
gonna be tough with just 2 people picking. It's gonna be tough to figure out which one. So do we want to do snake draft, or we just want to go back and forth? I think we just go back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth with 2 people. Yeah, back and forth. I gotcha.
All right, so you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll let you go ahead and go first. Start us off.
All right. And I think we should also add in this rule. He's got to be in the movie for more than 20% of the movie, because he's in a lot of movies where he just kind of shows up. So I don't want you to say, "Oh, I'm going to pick Avengers, the last Avengers movie," when he was only in at the end credits.
Okay. I mean, if you want to just throw out frivolous rules, sure, whatever. I see how it is. Yeah, you're already scared, man. This is it. You are. You're afraid that my Samuel L. Jackson team will stomp your Samuel L. Jackson team. But that's okay. That's okay. Let's make some rules up. Go ahead with your first pick. You go with your bad self.
My first pick, I'm tossing up between one or the other, but I'm going to go with the one that I liked more, although I think the fans might like the other one more. No, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go against my gut. I'm going to go with what I think the people will like, and that is Pulp Fiction.
All right, Jules from Pulp Fiction. Yes, that was one of my top picks. That's a good choice. Well played, sir. I think I've got to go, and this is just because it's my top pick, and this is an iconic moment for Samuel L. Jackson. He was the very first Black Jedi. I'm going to pick Attack of the Clones, because he goes in there with his purple lightsaber. He's killing dudes. He looks like a badass. And this is the best opportunity for Samuel L. Jackson. Gold handle, purple saber blade as Mace Windu in Attack of the Clones.
Now you're taking a risk here, because we're just doing Samuel L. Jackson movies. We're not doing Samuel L. Jackson characters. So you're going to have a lot of people who feel a certain way about that Attack of the Clones movie.
This is true. This is a dangerous place I'm going. But I'm also taking the Star Wars fan into consideration, because there are a lot of diehard Star Wars fans out there, and maybe I've got an angle here, Chris America. Maybe I do.
Again, those are people who feel a certain way about that movie.
True.
All right. I rolled the dice. I figured, let me go with the one that people will probably vote for more than the other one. I kind of felt like you might take Pulp Fiction, So let me get that off the board. I rolled the dice hoping you wouldn't pick the other one that I was going to pick as my number one. And that, of course, is Django Unchained. Oh, man, he is so good in these Quentin Tarantino movies. And he was phenomenal in that movie. Everybody in this movie was phenomenal. It's probably my one or two top favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. It's between that and Kill Bill.
Yeah, I see what you're doing here. You're going all Quentin Tarantino. You've got definitely a little niche that you're trying to go. I'm gonna try to be a little bit different. Number two, this was almost my number one. I went safe number one. I guess maybe not as safe as I thought, but number two for me is gonna be Snakes on a Plane. Yes.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite Samuel L. Jackson movies of all time, and one of the most iconic quotes of all time. I can't say it on the air because there are kids listening right now, and I couldn't say it, but there are some snakes on this you-know-what plane.
There are some snakes on this plane. Let's see. What am I going to go with my third pick? I think I'm going to go a little bit more different. I'm going to go on another side here. This was a fun movie. I don't know how the fans are going to think about this movie, but when I saw it, I thought it was great. I had to go out and rent the second one as soon as I saw this one, and that is The Kingsman, The Secret. What is it? We'll just go Kingsman. I don't know which one it is. The Secret Service. Yeah, Kingsman, The Secret Service. I'm gonna go with that one as my third pick.
He is great in that movie. That is a
really
good call. He plays that role perfectly. I had that on my list. I'll be honest with you, Chris America. You stole that one from me. I'm feeling where you're going with this. Now I like to have a little bit more diversity with my picks here, so I've got to change it up a little bit. I'm going a little cartoon style here. Samuel L. Jackson was the voice of Frozone in The Incredibles. I'm going Incredibles.
See, now you're taking one off of my list.
See how this works? Yep. That's how I roll.
All right. I'm going to go back to more. I mean, I don't think this was a Quentin Tarantino movie. But it's a Quentin Tarantino-esque type movie. What's his name? Justin Timberlake, I believe, was in this movie. I'm going to go Black Snake Moan. He was a great character in there. Very edgy movie. And just the thing I love about Samuel L. Jackson is you can give that guy any role, and he will play the S out of it. He'll just knock it out of the park. Any role you give him, from, like you said, from Mace Windu to, even if you said, hey, we just need you to come in as an extra, as a coffee shop bistro, hipster kid, and he would nail the hipster kid part as a 60-plus-year-old man.
Yeah, he's just a very, I don't know how to describe him as an actor, but he's been in so many movies. He's played so many types of characters. He's not stereotyped as a certain type of guy. He can be the badass. He can be the nerdy guy. He can be the weak guy, the strong guy. He can do it all. He's very, very diverse in his talents, and that is definitely a good thing. So I will say thank you, Chris America. That was one that was not on my list, and
you're welcome.
I appreciate that from you, sir. And, I had one pop in my head just a second ago that wasn't on my list that I wanted to write down, and I've already completely forgot which that one was because it's Friday and we're having fun. All right, so I'm going to go, I guess maybe I do have a little bit of a theme. I like superheroes, so I also like villains, and I think Samuel L. Jackson plays a really great villain. This is probably a little bit less popular movie, but I like me some M. Night Shyamalan, and Samuel L. Jackson plays Mr. Glass in Unbreakable, and he does he does it right. That's all I'm gonna say. He does it right. So I'm going Unbreakable for number 4.
That's a good choice. M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. That was when he was making good movies, and then he just got weird as time progressed and just started making awful movies. Now we're down to our last pick, Kyle, and again, there's just so many great movies that people are going to, when we post these lists, they're going to be like, well, what about this movie and what about that movie? We couldn't fit them all. Like I said, we need a 20-team draft here to really get to cover any of his movies. But since we're a sports show, I'm going to stick to sports on my last pick, and I'm going to throw out Coach Carter.
Good pick. I like it. All right.
Now, see, you're left with your last pick, and it's tough to pick, isn't it?
It is tough to pick, and I think I missed one of your movies. I've been writing these down, and I think I started talking about them.
What do you got started so
Well,
far?
it was before Coach Carter.
The last one?
Yeah.
Was it Black Snake Moan?
Okay. Django Unchained, Pulp Fiction, Black Snake Moan, Coach Carter. Which one of yours did I miss?
Let me see. Let me go back. Oops. Went back
All
too
right.
far. Go back. Where did it go? I need to find my... I've been picking off of his list of movies.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, and I just missed another good movie. If I can't remember it, I'm going to throw in this other good movie.
Okay, well, we'll at the end, we'll do honorable mention.
Kingsman. Kingsman.
Oh, yes, you're right. That's right. Good call on that one. All right, so for my last pick, so your 20% rule, I'm probably a little on the edge of this with this particular movie. So you can tell me that I can not count this as a movie with him if you would like, because I have a backup. But Jurassic Park.
I looked at that, and I thought that was kind of borderline, but I'll give it to you. I'll allow it just so we can move on with the show because it's 6:51, and I have a Gronk video we need to watch before we head out.
All right, so we've got our teams. We're going to go ahead and post these up on Twitter. My honorable mentions, I was going to say Avengers, Nick Fury, but again, that 20% rule, he isn't the main character. We could have gone every Marvel movie if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Probably not worth it. I just stayed away from that. Did you have any other ones that you were going to throw out there? I mean, Hateful Eight was another good Samuel L. Jackson movie. He's been in so much.
Rules of Engagement, great Tommy Lee Jones and Samuel L. Jackson movie. And then this didn't fit in the 20% rule, but he was hilarious with The Rock and the other guys.
Oh, that's the other one I was thinking of. When he jumps off the building, that is one of my favorite scenes in any movie ever. I don't know why. I just laughed hysterically for like 10 minutes straight when I first saw that.
Yeah.
It was great. All right, so you want to Gronk it up tonight or today?
Let's Gronk it up. Let's end it up.
Gronk it up
with a Gronk video. This is a Gronk Lyft prank. He poses as a Lyft driver going around Boston, Massachusetts area, and he's wearing a wig and everything. So here's that video. Hopefully there's not an ad. There we go.
I think that was perfect. Let me practice again. Hey there, welcome to Lyft. Ah, there we go. Little high-pitched voice is perfect.
What's up? This is Gronk, and we are here in New England, and this is Undercover Lyft.
Hi. Hey there. How are you? Good, how are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Dallas.
Ooh.
Grew up mostly in the Detroit area.
Are you a Detroit Lions fan?
Unfortunately.
Because I'm a Patriots fan, and like it hurt my feelings that you said you were a Detroit Lions fan.
Well, unfortunately, I said.
So, like, what do you do?
I teach and do research.
I research all the time too. I love space. I love researching about space.
Did you study like astronomy or anything in school or
astrophysics? Like E equals MC squared. Like
I've heard of it.
Easy.
What can you tell me about astrophysics?
Like black holes, planets, Pluto.
Wow.
Are you a sports fan at least? I mean,
No, figure skating is as far as I go.
Oh,
Sorry.
figure skating. I need to go to the Patriots game. Like I never miss one. You know that Tom guy, he does throw it to Gronk, and the way he spikes the football is just so cool to me. The Gronk. You ever hear people say that here in New England? The Gronk.
Not quite like that.
How do they say it?
I don't know.
The Gronk. Let me hear yours.
No.
Why not?
Well, it must feel really great to just, like, you know all the players.
I can name everyone. Like
Yeah.
Danny Amendola,
Stats,
Julie Edelman,
yeah,
Chris
no.
Hogan, David Andrews, center. No one knows the centers. I know them all.
I don't even know what a center is.
I'm the biggest fan ever. The one guy I want to meet is Tom Brady.
Yeah, but he's married, so he's like off limits, you know.
I mean, I'm not trying to get with him. I mean, I just want to meet him. You got to know who the quarterbacks are, right?
Well, I know who Tom Brady is.
I love that guy.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I got like 4 posters of him.
That's so cool.
What do you think about his new haircut?
He looks like he's like 20.
I want to know what he puts on his skin. What is
Oh man, I swear. He probably puts this lotion on all the time after he showers. should have went there. No.
What, you can't stop thinking about him putting lotion on his body?
Oh, I've always had a man crush on him. You know, it would be so cool to, like, meet those players.
Yeah.
It would be so cool.
Maybe it'll happen.
What if you met Rob Gronkowski?
I have met him.
You have?
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Where?
A bar downtown called Society on High.
You did not meet him at Society on High. What if you met the players? Would you yell it? What if you met him? Would you yell it?
Maybe if I met him.
If you met him, you would yell it.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're about to yell it then. Because you just met Rob Gronkowski.
Wait, really?
What's up?
Gronk.
Yeah, you went through with it. Dude, I was not at Society on High. What's up?
Hi.
Take it and kabam it. Like this. Bam.
All right, and then the rest of the video, he's just spiking the football with all these people. But I thought it was a pretty fun video. I like the guy that's like, oh, yeah, I said, unfortunately, I'm a Detroit Lions fan.
Yeah, big time, man. The fans even know that that's unfortunate. They don't even want to admit that they're fans. That's a bad sign as a fan.
And he just picked, I think it was funny, they picked the most unsports people that they could find and just put them in the car with him and everything. And
oh, yeah, well, that's what makes it entertaining. The Gronk!
And then I think he's like, he puts lotion on his skin after showers. And then you can tell he's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. I said too much.
Yeah, I know a little too much about him. He puts the lotion on the skin.
If you want to watch the video, if you actually want to see the video, just, Undercover Lift with Rob Gronkowski on YouTube. Look it up. Hopefully that brought some enjoyment to start off your Friday. Coast on into the weekend, guys. It's a 3-day weekend, so party it up.
Yeah, party it up. And real quick, I want to give a shout-out to the shows coming up. Listen to the rest of the lineup today. If you stay tuned, right after our show at 7 a.m., you've got A Sip of Sports. Mary from A Sip of Sports puts on a great show. She has an interesting perspective on a lot of different sports, and she'll definitely be entertaining, so make sure you listen into that. We've got Cows and Quacks at 10 a.m. We've got our replay at 11. We've got Hog Nation Live. We've got Beck's Work Week in Review coming on today at 2 o'clock. All kinds of great stuff. World Hockey Report tonight, TNT Sports, and that is it, man. This is going to be it. So have a great day, guys.
Peace.